Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. A happy Valentine's Day to you all. If you don't have a date, you're probably here with us for this round of Season 6 of the Almeida Racing League at the Chicago Street Circuit. My goodness, this is going to be an interesting one. A whole field of spec racer Fords ready to do battle amongst the concrete walls with barely any runoff to speak of. As Daniel Zippy Salmon, alongside me in the commentary box, says, it's going to be an absolute belter. My name is Reese Gardner, bringing it to you here tonight on Pit Road Productions and Swellio Almeida's channel. Zippy, this is going to be a fun one. I think we're expecting it to not be an entirely clean race with how close the walls are, but should be entertaining at the very least.
Yeah, I definitely have a feeling it's going to be a little bit too close for comfort for a couple of these drivers, but certainly a street circuit does add another kind of test. Myself, certainly from the real world point of view, I do like if a track has a lot of runoff. It just gives me a little bit of security. You know, a gravel trap, you can just fix it, you can clean the car off, but certainly the wall, it doesn't tend to move. But certainly, Reese, let's indeed see where we've been and indeed where we're going to be going.
Absolutely. The schedule then. Watkins Glen was where we started off the season. Barber and then Phoenix for the first endurance round of the season. We went to Montreal for round 4, then Aragon and Oschersleben to round off the first half of the season. And then at round 7, we had the second endurance round of the season at Catalunya. We are here at Chicago this week. Alton Park, Imola, and Lebanon will round off the season. We are rapidly approaching the end of this season, Zippy, and I gotta say, it's going to be quite interesting to see how the championships work out because it's getting closer and closer to crunch time.
It very much is indeed. As we take a look at the overall right now, that's Brian Sabowski. He's in the lead with 11.49. Charles Krasik in second with 11.13. Yeah, 11.13 with Adrian Trevino there in third. Then we see our first top split driver, ladies and gentlemen. Ian joined us there in fourth. But looking a little bit further down, Mason Kuhn there making the top 10, as does Cairo Ends with 898 points and indeed 835 respectively. But speaking of, let's take a look at the Premier Championship. And one thing we did learn, ladies and gentlemen, is that Premier is made up of Premier and Club drivers. And the club championship is just club drivers alone. So it definitely gives these guys a bit more of a chance as well. Actually, fantastic idea on the scoring system. But Reese, do the honors, sir.
Yeah, indeed. Ian Joyner, Mason Kuhn, and Cairo ends the overall points in Premier there, the top 3. Rupesh Pineni has been pacey at every single round so far, has yet to get that consistent run of good results to really challenge for the title. Maybe Chicago will be where he does it as long as he can keep that characteristic aggression under control. Zoltan Zomator rounding out your top 10 ahead of Michael Hooper and Valdas Van Savicius. Plenty of close fights going on here, but Ian Joyner is the runaway leader in Premier. Cairo Ends leads the club class with Tyler Harker and Felipe Pulls behind him. Not much competition there for the top 3 in points, but you go a bit further down, you start to see things getting a bit closer. Kemel Kasim on 471 with Tuca Valchiasso and Philippe Masson only separated by 2 points there for 6th place in club. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out between them towards the rest of the season. And James Conrad and Anthony Ori are only separated by 4 points for 13th place. Rather close indeed.
It definitely is close indeed, and certainly taking another look as well. This is the second week in a row we haven't got our resident Finland drivers. Guys, where are you? Certainly Tuukka Vakaseo and indeed Thomas Nieminen. We're missing you. We're actively calling you out. Get your butts back in the rig and indeed come back here. We'd love to see a bit more of you. But I'll tell you what, Reese, let's take a quick opportunity here before we get more into qualifying. Have a little bit of a break here and see a message from Swellio.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Swellio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Swelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy, wait a race.
Huge thanks to Swelio Almeida and the whole crew at the Almeida Racing Academy for bringing us on here at Pit Road Productions to help bring this fantastic championship to the world. Of course, the Almeida Racing League made up of students of the Almeida Racing Academy. For just $25 a month, you can get access to all of the coaching material from Swelio Almeida and friends. Connor Bell and Kane Halliburton also on board as coaches for this fantastic coaching service, helping drivers get better at racing, not just on iRacing, but in the real world as well. We're in qualifying at the moment here at the Chicago Street Circuit, and Cairo Enns finds himself up behind, I believe, Rupesh Pineni, one of the drivers there. We will see exactly how fast he goes. But Zippy, I'm looking forward to seeing who sets down the best times in this session. It's a really tough track.
It very much is, and certainly we're looking forward to seeing exactly how this one's going to unfold. Definitely a few people missing this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We're up to 18 drivers. Both coaches are absent indeed, and certainly our two resident Finland drivers are also absent as well. So certainly we are understanding it is Valentine's Day. Don't get me wrong, we are sim racers, we are broadcasters, but let's take a look here with an onboard lap with the one and only Mr. Steve Saunders.
Yep, across the line he will go, and into turn one. There's no runoff on the exit there. You switch over. It's a very wide first couple of turns here. Steven just hitting the apex there and bringing himself back out onto one of many straights on this circuit. It is a true street circuit through and through. It's entirely public roads. Most of the corners are hard right angles, but not this one. Turn 4. It's a really fast entry, and then almost a double apex there at turn 5. You've got to be very careful through that corner not to hit the inside. I've certainly done it a couple of times when I've been behind the wheel. Straight widens out on the right-hand side a little bit there. Wait for those braking markers. Braking at the number 3 marker is Steven Saunders for the left, and this is where the track starts to narrow up. This very interesting back section at this circuit. This is right when the track narrows up here. There's barely any room to go side by side through this section, but the apexes are sharp and there's barely any runoff to speak of. You got to try and keep your momentum up through this long left-hander. Try and widen out the entry to this next right-hander so you're easily on board for the line here into the second last corner. Oh man, it looks like such a simple circuit from the air, doesn't it, Zippy? But every single corner is important here. One more right-hander and that is the lap done there for Steven Saunders. It's a brutal ride over in about 1 minute and 34 seconds.
It definitely is quite aggressive, and the thing is with circuits like this, certainly Connor Bell, I can remember him being at, I'm pretty sure it was Chicago, and he absolutely loved the street circuit because it's a game of, you know, just how hard are you going to push, and certainly it's risk versus what you see Saunders there, just grazing the wall. If you want to get the most optimal line, indeed get the optimal lap time, you have to push it right to the very edge, and certainly it's a high-risk strategy. You push a little bit too hard, go into understeer and clip that wall, you could damage the car, potentially right off the car, and find yourself absolutely catastrophically falling backwards in the pack.
Yeah, it's not an easy circuit by any means, and it's quite a unique circuit as well. It was actually designed by iRacing themselves, and has certainly been able to prove itself in the real world. Designed using the sim, the iRacing team went through many iterations after they laser scanned a whole part of Chicago just to test layouts, and the NASCAR Chicago Street Race has quickly become one of the classics on the schedule.
Well, as you say that, Cairo Ends has just been topped off the P1 position. Adrian Hopp in there going purple in multiple sectors. And not only that, you can see that that's Cairo Ends right ahead of him. He's used the draft to his advantage. Fair play, we saw Ends doing it earlier as well. Bas van der Lee, he was on the purple sector as well. He managed to move himself up into P4, ladies and gentlemen. Some incredible progress here, and definitely the draft very beneficial in these Spec Racer Fords. And we see Valdes Pansavicius in the front of that shot as well.
Yeah, certainly. There's it's interesting to see. I do believe it is because it's Valentine's Day, but we are missing a few key players from this field today, not least championship leader Ian Joyner. I do not see him in the server at all. So this effectively is a free kick for a lot of drivers. Mason Kuhn has not been able to set a time that he's happy with. He currently sits in that is 8th place, I believe, and it looks like there'll be another driver taking the overall spoils today, whether it's Hopp, Enns, Pineni, maybe even Van der Lee or Kevin Adrian, Barrett Brummett potentially. Any of them could finish on top here.
Well, certainly Mason Kuhn did manage to go purple in one of those sectors, but is it going to be enough? Oh, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of, actually surprisingly, that's you know, power on oversteer. Not really what you expect from the Spec Ford, but look at that. He is absolutely milking that Spec Racer Ford. Don't get me wrong, I got a cup of tea alongside me, but that's not the flavor I'm going to be looking for. But so incredibly close there. Rupesh Pineni currently there in P3 as well. Kevin Adrian, though, he's there, and he's got a Tope and Barrett 1 minute ahead, currently resting in 5th place overall.
Indeed. Important to qualify well at this particular round as we're on board with Kevin Adrian. The format for today is our usual sprint format. We're going to have 2 15-minute sprints with a field invert for the second race. It's going to be the top 8 for this round. And then we're going for a 20-minute feature after a 5-minute warm-up with the grid for the final race decided by the results of race 2. So finishing well here is incredibly important, and you're going to have to be careful of that invert in the second race, Zippy. You win race 1, you'll be starting from 8th in race 2, and it can be all too easy to see the track blocked ahead of you at a track like this.
Very much so. You get an incident unfold ahead. It really is going to be a case of slam on the anchor, or slam on the brakes, throw out the anchor, and indeed put your foot down all the way as it'll go. Try not to lock up them wheels as well. But right now, Rupesh Pineni currently leading the charge there. Cairo Ends got quite a good advantage here as he's currently in P3 overall. Kemal Kasim currently in P9, ladies and gentlemen. This could be absolutely huge here for Cairo Ends. We know he's certainly had a very mixed bag when it comes to racing, but certainly the Spec Racer Ford, he's really coming to his groove for it this season. He's settled his driving down, and indeed the results are starting to pay off as Bas van der Lee goes a little bit faster, puts himself up into 3rd place.
1 minute and 30 seconds remaining on the clock. If you're not on your final lap right now, you won't be able to finish it. It is a multi-race server, so it's a hard cut to the end of qualifying. It looks like Adrian Hopp is done with his session. So is Carlos Facania, who sits in P11 at the moment. He will start no higher than that. Looks like Cairo Ends is done with his session as well. So that's going to leave Rupesh Pineni as the top driver in the session for the moment, unless someone can pull out a surprise in the next minute.
Yeah, this would be somebody who I'd keep an eye on, Barrett Brummett, but I think what's really going to hurt him is the fact that I've not seen him in the draft this entire qualifying session. Don't get me wrong, with some drivers, it's a little bit of a disadvantage, but you know, if you're able to time that gap right, you can just get such a huge advantage in these Spec Race Fords. As I say that, Kevin Adrian has gone purple in Sector 1. He's right behind Brummett. This could be a good opportunity here if he can move his way up from P5 overall. Maybe see a little bit of a gain here into the top 3.
Okay, across the start-finish line, Brummett goes second, and Kevin Adrian does not improve. He's only 2/10 off his fastest time, but that is a crucial improvement for Barrett Brummett there in the final dying moments of this session.
Yeah, one thing I do find interesting, Tyler Harker does not appear to have set a lap time, ladies and gentlemen, so I have to wonder if that is intentional. I understand here on the street circuit is Zoltan Zomator now. He's coming out. He's currently got a 1:35.9 was his last lap, indeed his best lap. Saying that, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end. We're straight to the grid.
Indeed. Interesting to note for Tyler Harker, he did set a time in practice and it was a 1:34.3, so he has pole pace. I really hope he takes to the grid. Rupesh Paneni heads it up here with Barrett Brummett alongside. Adrian Hopp and Bas van Lee will start third and fourth. Cairo Ends, our club class championship leader, starts P5 and pole in club alongside Kevin Adrian, Rich Meesters and Mason Kuhn 7th and 8th. James Conrad and Kemel Kasim will round out your top 10.
Take a look here at P11. It's going to be Baudas Van Svicius alongside Carlos Vacania. In 13th, we've got the one and only Philip Masson alongside Dominic Gioseu. In 14th, Steve Saunders takes 15th with Zoltan Zomator in 16th. Jeffrey Atkins there in 17th with Tyler Harker not posting a qualifying lap there in 18th. I've got to say, credit where due, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, these guys are busier on Valentine's Day than we would have given them credit for. God, the chat's getting pretty funny there. Yeah, I think would be the best way of pronouncing his name. Very active in Swellio's chat. By all means, good to have you here on board. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe button. And he did say that Swellio, he would wear his logo for free. And certainly the way I described it is Swellio is a hero among sim racers, ladies and gentlemen. I think that would be a good way of describing it. One of the few drivers who has managed to make it from sim to reality. Certainly, a few people we've seen do that. Connor Bell as well being one of them, ladies and gentlemen. But we are indeed going to get this race underway very shortly here as Rupesh Paneni is going to have the honours.
Indeed, a rolling start in this series, and the iRacing pace car will be leading them around for a single lap. The Chicago skyline in the background. You can see the Willis Tower off to the right-hand side, formerly... Oh, no, that's the Willis Tower right there. You can see the double antenna on top of the building. My apologies. I had a complete mental blank there, but many iconic buildings, part of the skyline of this city. And... well, there's not much elevation change to be seen around this circuit, but it's certainly bumpy. You can just see from the way the camera shakes around here, this rear view camera that we've got. It is not a smooth circuit by any stretch.
Yeah, definitely not, but certainly I live in Nova Scotia, ladies and gentlemen. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a road made of velvet in comparison.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the roads here in Perth, Western Australia, are in slightly better condition than this, but it just increases the challenge for these racers. The surface changes that they have to deal with over the course of this lap. It can be very easy to apply power at the wrong point, lock up a brake over one of these bumps. Driving within your limits is key around this place, and knowing when to push is even more so. We'll see how this field goes here. 19 cars, sorry, 18 starting the race here. Happy to report that Tyler Harker has joined the race. He is at the rear of the grid, but as I said, he was 0.3 faster than everyone else in practice, just about. Actually, no, good enough for fourth in practice, my apologies. Adrian Hopp topping practice. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Tyler Harker can do here. We are joined by Connor Bell here on this formation lap, Zippy. Bell not on the grid today.
Yeah, unfortunately wasn't able to make it on the grid today, but looking forward to watching these guys battle it out. And I think Chicago can produce some great racing. It's just keeping it out of the walls on lap 1.
Well, certainly it is indeed a challenging circuit, and certainly we will forgive you for your absence here, Connor, but certainly yourself, I was praising you earlier. I'm pretty sure we came here last season with the ARA, and yourself able to really capitalize here where you've got to push it so hard, get it so close to the walls. What do you think would be your advice for the students for this race?
Use your references. The limit's the limit, and keep it out of the walls.
He's hoping they do that as the green flag flies, and we are away for the start of race 1. Rupesh Paneni getting the best start possible here. He's got a completely clear run into turn 1. Barrett Brummett keeps second place. It's side by side between Adrian Hopp and Cairo Ends through the first couple of corners. Kevin Adrian, Bas van Lee fighting over P5 as well. They are 2 by 2 through turn 2, and then they make their way out onto the back straight. Looks like a clean start for everybody. A couple of drivers falling down the order slightly. Zoltan Zomator down to 16th place, and now he's falling to 17th as well. well. Looks like he's in a bit of trouble there. Tyler Harker has made up 2 positions already on what we're presuming is going to be quite the run up through the field, but I don't think he was anticipating the number 3 is Stephen Saunders to break that early.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit of a brown flag moment there for him, but thankfully able to keep that in check. Rupesh Beneni, though, able to get away a little bit there, but not quite enough. Barrett Blemmett keeping him honest. Cairo N still holding true in 4th place. This could be a fantastic points haul for him. Its nearest competition is James Conrad, actually, back there in P9 overall, ladies and gentlemen. And then you have a whole field of club class drivers, 9th all the way down to 15th, ladies and gentlemen. This is the absolutely golden opportunity for Enns. He just has to finish this race cleanly. Right now, he's got Adrian Hopp ahead of him and starting to open up a little bit of a gap behind, but by about 4/10 of a second. Oh, contact!
Yeah. Oh
no.
dear, and Enns goes deep into the runoff area almost. Gets going nicely, though, with some damage to his car. Looks like Enns might have been caught out by Adrian Hopp braking a bit earlier than he expected into that corner, but he's not going to go for the pits. He's going to feel the car out. The steering looks straight, but has the straight line speed suffered?
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. You can see there both corners of that car. He is going to have to put on the defensive game of a century. And right now, he's been mixed in back with the club class drivers, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, further up the front, Rupesh Beneni and Barrett Blemmett starting to make a breakaway, ladies and gentlemen. You see there, look like Kevin Adrian grazing the wall as well. Rich Meese is starting to lose a bit of a gap there. He's about 1.35 seconds back, 1.4 seconds back from the lead pack there of Rupesh Beneni, Barrett Blemmett, Adrian Hopp, Kevin Adrian, and indeed Bas van der Lee.
Yes, indeed. Bas van der Lee has certainly made a good case for himself here today, running P5. Rich Meesters then running VR and staring in front of him to see the rest of the top 5 breaking away. The pressure will be coming from behind here. Mason Kuhn, who was in real contention for the championship lead early on in this season. It looks like he's going to be trying to go for a move here as Meesters went a little bit deep there, and the move up the inside beckons, but it's not quite enough. That particular right-hander, you have to get by before the apex because the track narrows up. It's almost half the width that is on the way in.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a challenging circuit indeed, and you know, you have to wonder as well, is this one of them venues where if you just go and absolutely send it and park it on the apex, is it going to reward you? Actually, Connor, that's a good question for you. We've seen you go and climb through the order here. What would be your strategy in terms of passing at Chicago?
Yeah, you really got to be strategic about where you set up your passes. We've got quite a few long straights there as we see an incident in the back there. I believe that's Valdez Vansvicius and a couple other cars.
Oh, my word.
Oh dear, okay. It looks like that's turned into a bit of a schmozzle at the back there. Looks like Sayu, Saunders, actually Cairo Enns, Kemal Kassim, Zoltan Zomotor involved as well. Carlos Facania and Jeffrey Adkins all towing back to pit lane, and it looks like Cairo Enns may have been involved in the incident that triggered it. We'll have to wait and see on that. No, he just came up on it, and that's really weird. He just drove straight into the car there. Not entirely sure what went on.
I have a feeling he wasn't quite expecting that kind of closing speed there. And indeed, we've now got 5 cars in the pits, ladies and gentlemen. That has definitely gone and changed the order around a little bit. But right now, Rupesh Beneni currently leading the race and doing pretty good as I say that. Barrett Blemmett has been nothing but on the back of him here. As you see, Bas van der Lee just grazing the wall. The top 5 now cleared by about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, so I went back to check what triggered that incident. It was Valdez Vansvicius doing a solo error, sliding through the final corner. Looks like Kemal Kassim ultimately had to really slow up to avoid him, and then Enns went into Kassim, and it just triggered that entire pile up from there. I don't know if Enns couldn't see Kassim on his end. Maybe there was a network issue there that we couldn't see, but it's resulted in quite a few drivers at the back of the field having huge issues.
I think looking at that again from that different angle, it looked like there was a small gap and he went for it, and Kassim just not quite enough space there. I'd say it was a little bit of a racing incident, but certainly I think one that could have been avoided. We'll go with that. But we got 3 races here today, ladies and gentlemen. We have indeed more opportunities for these drivers to score some points, but definitely a little bit of maybe trying a little bit too hard at the start. Needed to ease into it just that little bit gentler, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of starting off with a nice smooth drink, they went straight for the shot.
That they did. Cannot recommend, especially around here. This is the kind of track where you really got to ease yourself into the race. It's one thing to be aggressive early on, but this is public roads that make up this circuit, and you got to deal with changing grip levels or grip that might not be as much as you'd expect. These roads have normal vehicles running over them every single day. They have oil being spilt onto them. You know, you really got to be careful when you get up to speed around here. Once your tires are up to temp, then it's all well and good, but yeah, in these early laps you really got to tiptoe.
Yeah, definitely. It's and again, there is no room for forgiveness. You got a concrete wall and Arby's billboards right next to you. Don't get me wrong, if you're feeling a little bit peckish and you like Arby's, you feel free, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't do it for me personally. I'm more of a McDonald's man. Or indeed a KFC lately has been taking my fancy. But certainly, Barrett Blumett now, if it is indeed a Burger King ahead of him, and that's what he's craving, Rupesh Pineni is going to be consumed very, very shortly here, as the number 34 has done nothing but continuously apply pressure to the driver ahead. Adrian Hopp there right behind him as well. Kevin Adrian staying in contention as well. A more seasoned gentleman, and both of them able to pull away from Bas van der Lee as well.
Yeah, it's looking like a solid top 4 fight going on. The question will be who has the meats, and it won't be Arby's in this case. Rupesh Pineni at the moment has the meats, but Barrett Blumett will certainly be trying to take them from him. On board with Kevin Adrian then, as he sees the top 3 compress ahead. This is one of the parts of the circuit where you can really gain if you get the line right. A gentle turn in, maybe a bit of understeer on exit there for Kevin Adrian. That will hurt his straight line speed slightly, but he's still got enough of a gap that he can take advantage of the slipstream. The fastest of these cars on the last lap was Adrian Hopp, who currently holds the fastest overall lap on the race. The only driver, aside from Tyler Harker, to get into the 1 minute 34s.
Yeah, certainly he is indeed a potent driver as well, Adrian Hopp. He's definitely no slouch, and certainly we've seen him go to the front of the grid. It just depends on the circuit. I think he's definitely stronger at some venues than others, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly he is there in the mix. Kevin Adrian, I'd say he's sitting back and forth quite intentionally. I think he's going to depend on seeing a couple of incidents near the end of this race. Certainly Rupesh Pineni, a little bit of an aggressive driver. Right now, he's out in front. He doesn't need to be aggressive. He can focus on his line. Barrett Blumett not applying any pressure just yet, as we just crossed the halfway point through this race.
Yeah, there's 2 possibilities here. Either Blumett is biding his time for a move, or he's doing everything he can to keep up with Pineni at this stage. You can see that Rupesh is very confident with his placement of the car. That's some of the most direct turn-in I've ever seen from a spec racer Ford. He's just wrenching the wheel, and the car responds beautifully. It is a fixed setup in this series, of course. Every driver is driving effectively the same car, but knowing how to drive around the settings on this car is the key to success here. It's fantastic to see that the racing is so close at the front. We do still have other battles than this going on circuit at the moment. 6th place is up for grabs between Rich Meesters and Mason Kuhn still, and Mason's gotten to the 1 minute 34s as well. Looks like he's looking very pacey in that number 79. There's also a battle going on for 11th. Domenico Sayu, Steven Saunders, and Valdas Vansavicius. Looks like we might be seeing half a move there from Mason Kuhn. He has succeeded, ultimately, in getting past Rich Meesters.
Yeah, we'll take a look here on the replay of that for you, Reese. And you can see there, gets a beautiful drop there, a little bit of the overspeed, and just goes and absolutely books it up on the inside. Rich knows, I've lost that corner. Best bet rather than go alongside, tucking right back behind him. Certainly Tyler Harker, one of the quickest guys on track right now, and currently clear. He's behind them by about 2.4 seconds. So these guys keep fighting. It could indeed introduce him to the mix.
Certainly could. Well, the battle will continue. Meesters will try his best to keep in touch with Mason Kuhn, who took a bit longer to get up to speed than our drivers at the front. I don't think Kuhn's going to be much of a factor for the win in race 1 at least, but we will need to keep an eye on drivers like this one here, the 119 of Valdas Vansavicius, who has picked up the slipstream of Steven Saunders. A move into turn 1 beckons, and if you're going to pass anywhere, turn 1's a great place to try. It's so wide on the exit, but that just means it's quite easy to defend as well, as Saunders just proved.
Yeah, definitely a good job by Saunders. I think Valdes Pansavicius could have been a little bit more forceful with that if he wanted to as well. But you know what? I've got no objections to people racing cleanly. And indeed, Steve Saunders, a gentleman as well. He's definitely one of the cleaner racers I've encountered. But right now, let's return here to the lead battle, as I think Bas van der Lee is falling a little bit further back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, he could be in contention here should these guys come together. But right now, we should definitely recognize this man as well. Tyler Harker up an astonishing 10 positions since the start. Oh, boink.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of a whack to the wall there for the man who started at the very back of the field and currently sits in 8th place, which would be pole position for race 2. So a bit of a dilemma here for Tyler Harker. He clearly has the pace. He's running about 0.8 of a second faster than Mason Kuhn at the moment, and a bit more besides on Rich Meesters, 1.7 seconds faster than Rich on the last lap. So he will catch these guys before the end of the race. Question is, does he want to actually pass them, or will he take the L now, L so to speak, that will become a potential W for race 2?
Yeah, I would 100% stay where I'm at and just make sure I can get that grid in my advantage. But right now, let's go back to the lead battle, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed Barrett Blummer still applying pressure here. Certainly, Connor, we're here at Chicago. Like, would you say this is one of the easier tracks to defend, or would you say that at some point you're a sitting duck? Tell us your point of view here.
So in terms of taking a defensive line, it's probably one of the easier tracks to do so. There's not a ton of room for an attacking car to pass you if you are on a defensive line. But as we can see here, we do have some long straights at this track, and it does provide for some significant amounts of overspeed for the following car. And this would be an opportunity for Barrett to set up a pass either at the end of this straight, end of the front straight, or going into turn 4 on that last lap.
Well, definitely we are seeing opportunities starting to unfold here. These guys have been pretty consistent in terms of position. Certainly 1, 2, and 3 in the same place as where they started. Kevin and Adrian up 2 spots. Bas van der Lee down 1. But Mason Kuhn now as well. He's lapping quicker than these guys up front. But is he going to have enough time to get there? He's about 2.2 seconds back on Bas van der Lee. I'm going to say for this race, it's probably not going to happen. But I do have to wonder, has Brummett got the pace here to really give Rupesh Paneni a challenge for the lead?
Yeah, well, looking at the best laps from these drivers, Brummett has run a best lap time faster than Pineni's. So he does have potential. But you know what? I think that first possibility I was talking about earlier might be true. I think Brummett might be biding his time for a move here, and I get the feeling Adrian Hopp is doing the same thing. Pineni is driving as fast as he can at the front of this field. The slipstream will be beneficial to everyone behind him, and they just need to wait for the right opportunity to pounce. They currently have 2 laps to go here. Next lap will be the last one, so now's the time to start putting yourself in position for that move. Pineni very fast into turn 4 there. I'm amazed he didn't hit the wall on the outside, but you see how the line just comes back to Barrett Brummett. He wasn't as aggressive on the way in, and that helped his exit.
I gotta be honest, this is giving me full street circuit vibes. Certainly GP3R, it's out in Rivière de Loup, I believe. Certainly Connor will know that better than me. One of the tracks I want to visit there in real life. And certainly Connor, you've driven a street track before, I'm pretty confident. Oh, Reese, it's you, buddy, it's you.
Yeah. Well, you were talking, mate. There was half a move there from Barrett Brummett, but it would appear that Rupesh Paneni was slightly deep there at turn 6, I think, maybe turn 7. I'm not entirely clear on the corner numbers at this circuit outside of the first 4, but it looks like we're going to have one heck of a race on our hands here as the final lap is about to start.
Yeah, Rupesh Paneni certainly he's had incredible form all race long, and certainly he's managed to hold on to that top spot. But the question is Barrett Brummett going to force a move? Is Adrian Hopp going to try and make his way further up in the podium? And is Kevin Adrian going to be able to capitalize on all of this? Certainly, these guys are absolutely throwing the car around, and I absolutely love it. Does it feel like a race circuit in some ways? It doesn't. I feel it's, with the bumps and, you know, with the walls being so close, it feels almost more like a rally, ladies and gentlemen, or indeed a absolute belter for your local town centre. But certainly these guys are absolutely sending this car. But is it going to be a case of too little too late for Adrian Hopp to find his way further through the field?
Yeah, it looks like Rupesh Paneni has made up a bit more time after that mistake on the previous lap. Brummett is too far behind to really do anything about it, and it looks like Adrian Hopp didn't get a very good exit out of there either, so our top 4 will be spaced out here. This is where Rupesh made the mistake on the last lap. It doesn't happen this time, as Barrett Brummett continues to follow him here into the final sector. Then the track narrows up so much here. You can see it from these onboard cameras. Barely any room to run side by side through there. I think Paneni has just positioned his car perfectly to come away in the lead coming out of the final corner. Only a few more opportunities here. Set up that final corner. Make sure that you get it right and your rival doesn't. It looks like there won't be any moves into the final turn here. None of these guys have a real chance on each other. Kevin Adrian had half a look there at Adrian Hopp, but nothing doing. Checkered flag out, and Rupesh Paneni is going to take the win for the first race here at Chicago.
I gotta say, that's a fantastically clean race, and fair play to him. Don't get me wrong, we had a few incidents, but in the meanwhile, looks like Rich Meeses and Tyler Harker. A fair play to Tyler, able to get one more at the end there. Mason Kuhn up 2 positions, but Harker up 11. Ladies and gentlemen, the hard charger in the grid, followed actually by Steve Saunders. He's managed to get a nice 4-position climb there for the older gentleman that is driving the number 3 car, with Dominic Sayu and indeed Valdes Mansavicius all incredibly close, under 2 tenths per second between them.
Yeah, that was a nice fight between all of them on the final lap, and we're just waiting for the lapped cars to get to the finish. The drivers that had issues earlier on in the race. It would appear that Zoltan Zomotor has found himself in some problems there. Actually, no, that's Kemal Kasim that we're looking at. His front end completely missing. And I think he just got the minimal amount of repairs done that he could after that crash and got back out just hoping to get a finish.
Yeah, fair play. I will say in Kemal's defense, it's now easier for the mechanics to work on the car with the bodywork out of the way. So as a guy who's had to wrench on cars, I appreciate it not being there, albeit it's not really the way you want to do it.
No, you can see the front suspension is quite damaged on that car as well. Such as Chicago, such as any street circuit, it's more likely than not that your car's going to end up looking like that at the end. Sometimes bad luck just befalls you, but that's everyone across the line, and it's time for the results of race number 1. Rupesh Paneni taking victory with Barrett Brummett and Adrian Hopp rounding out your podium there. Bas van der Lee started in 4th, but had to settle for 5th. Kevin Adrian got it from him. Mason Kuhn up 2 positions to 6th place, and Tyler Harker makes it up to 7th in the end. He got past Rich Meesters in the dying laps. James Conrad and Philippe Masson rounding out your top 10.
As we have a look at P11, the second hardest charger of that race was indeed Steve Saunders. He's down 11 with Dominic Sayu in 12th. Valdes Mansavicius takes 13th with Kemal Kasim in 14th. Jeffrey Atkins, one of the community organisers for the endurance side, he's there in 15th with Cairo, and it's definitely not the race he was looking for this morning. He was there in 16th with Zoltan Zomotor in 17th, and indeed Carlos Vacania rounding out your 18-car grid.
Yes, unfortunate retirements there from Zomotor and Vacania. The start for race 2 is on board. We only really need to read out the top 8 because it's been inverted from race 1. Rich Meesters has pole with Tyler Harker alongside Mason Kuhn and Bas van der Lee on the second row. Kevin Adrian, Adrian Hopp, Barrett Brummett, and Rupesh Paneni are your top 8 from there on. It's where they finished in the first race. So, good time to bring you back in here, Connor, after the abortive attempt on the penultimate lap of race 1. The invert is always an interesting part of the night because it puts those drivers who were fast and finishing at the front suddenly having to find their way past cars to get back to the front. At a street circuit, that's almost impossible to do, but not entirely.
It's definitely going to be difficult for some of the drivers that finished up front in the last race, but I'm going to say the top 8 here in the top split of the ARA League are all very, very quick drivers. So, all these drivers can fight for the win, and I think it should make for a really interesting race with potentially some drivers coming from behind with high confidence and some drivers up front that still have some decent pace.
I do still think, Zippy, that the majority of the big moves are going to be made in the opening laps here, because as we saw, once the field got strung out, it was difficult to make up time, and when a passing opportunity presented itself, it wasn't quite easy to close the deal, was it?
Yeah, definitely not myself. I am a big fan of race starts. That is indeed when I make up the majority of my position. Certainly able to capitalize on any opportunities. And certainly myself, I'm inclined to agree with you there, Reese. I would 100% be doing it there. But don't get me wrong, I think we've seen this time and time again, not just in the IRA, but certainly in other broadcasts as well. Sometimes drivers are a little bit too spicy out of the gate. Indeed, maybe the slow burn could be a better approach. Let things settle down a little bit there. Let the tires get up to temperature before really starting to attack. Certainly one of the drivers who are going to be thinking of that will be the driver of the 117 car, Cairo Ends. Definitely not his best race. We know he's got pace, but certainly, you know, low risk, high reward. As we see the majority of the field here absolutely trying everything to try and get some heat in these tires. I have to wonder, is it maybe a little bit cool here today in Chicago?
Well, we are racing in the morning, and the track temperature is only 19 degrees Celsius. That is quite cool indeed. And considering these Spec Racer Fords don't run tire warmers, you will have to put some effort in to get those tires up to temperature, up to pressure. Rich Meesters will lead us away on the pole here, has the inside line for turn 1. And Tyler Harker will immediately go falling back here. He was really caught out there. Looks like Rich Meesters went for it immediately, and everyone else was caught sleeping. Now Tyler Harker's fallen back to 5th. That's given Mason Kuhn and Kevin Adrian a free kick.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Harker went basically, I think he went as soon as the corner went. Rich Meesters didn't, and as a result, had to slam on the anchors. Oh, no!
Oh, no, Rich!
Absolutely catastrophic. Fair play. He's definitely going to need to change his shreddies after that. It's great to get a race start, but definitely that's not the one he was looking for. Cairo N says thank you very much and makes his way by indeed as he's got Zoltan Zomator alongside. But wicked news here for Kevin Adrian. He's managed to find his way to the front of the pack.
Incredible. Round the outside of Mason Kuhn to defend the lead there. And Mason, just in time for that, has a couple of network issues. We're going to be seeing Adrian Hopp side by side with Rupesh Paneni down the back straight here. This is the fight for 5th, and it looks like Paneni a little bit deeper on the brakes. Can he hold it round the outside of the corner? Just manages to avoid getting into the tire bundles. And now Adrian has a dilemma here. He just needs to let Paneni go, because there's no way you can run side by side on the exit there.
Well, certainly a few of these guys looking to try it, but fair play. Mason Kuhn has indeed taken over that lead. Kevin Adrian pushed backwards, ladies and gentlemen, but Tyler Harker, despite that unorthodox start, has managed to hold on to third place, ladies and gentlemen. Look how close these cars are getting. This is one of the things, not just about any circuit, but street circuit in particular. You can't really sight around the next corner. There's walls in the way, so certainly should an incident occur, you pretty much a sitting duck at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've already seen that for Steven Saunders. He's had to tow back to pit lane after running deep at turn 6. It was just a straight-up out-braking himself problem for Steven Saunders. But how's this for incident avoidance? The car in front of him probably would have seen him looming closer and closer and closer, but ever so close indeed. Saunders avoids involving any other cars than that.
Yeah, fair play to take, accept that, okay, this has gone wrong and pretty much ditch the car, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play to him. Not every driver I've met would do that. As that's Kevin Adrian now going side by side with Mason Kuhn. There's contact. Kuhn goes around. Oh
my God. Oh dear. Barrett Brummett. Oh God. The track's blocked. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. Well, a Spec Racer Ford graveyard at turn 5. I was afraid that something like that would happen. Kuhn, Masson, Zomator, and Brummett, all with mechanical black flags. And this was all started with Kevin Adrian going for the move up the inside there. There was a slight bit of contact, and Mason Kuhn was a passenger from there. Paneni and Brummett went into him. We also saw Philippe Masson stop there as well. Vancevicius comes charging in. I have no idea how anyone was supposed to avoid that.
I've got to admit, don't get me wrong, in real world, that would be catastrophic, but from a broadcast point of view, gentlemen, that was incredibly entertaining. Thank you for that. Don't get me wrong, not what they had in mind, but that might be one of the top incidents we've had here on pit road. It's pretty close.
Yeah, in real life it would have been a black flag, no problem.
Red flag.
Sorry, red flag. That is what I meant to say. It's very late at the moment. Unfortunately, Rupesh Paneni had another problem way in the background on the front straight just a couple of moments ago. I saw him spinning. So that's going to be yet more trouble for drivers that had great success in race 1. Paneni finds himself back in 7th place with no one around him. This is what happened to him into the final corner, and it looks like it was a solo error here. Just lost the rear on the way in, and around he went.
Yeah, that screams like cold tires, but fair play. That looked like Bas van der Lee able to get a brilliant evasive maneuver there, but it's looking good here for Tyler Harker. He did indeed start up in P2, went back early at the start. I had a feeling he was getting a little bit too keen on the start, able to avoid the black flag by slamming on the brakes. But look at this now. It's working out great. Tyler Harker, a club class driver, grazing the wall there. Kevin Adrian right behind him. Now, Kevin's a smart man. He's a wise man. I have a feeling that this driver will pretty much... He'll go for the move if it presents itself, but he's not going to throw the race away for the sake of one position.
No, he's not, though, to be fair, he almost did that in the incident with Mason Kuhn at turn 5, which caused that pile-up. But in any case, he does find himself in 2nd. It was a very nice move down the straight for Tyler Harker. It was just basically a case of Kevin Adrian getting the exit slightly wrong and Tyler Harker taking advantage. But now the challenge is for Adrian to stay in touch. Have a look at the lap time difference between them on that one. A 35.0 for Harker and a 35.7 for Adrian. Tyler Harker clearly with a big pace advantage here.
Yeah, I think what Kevin Adrian needs to do is pretty much just stay in the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I got Jake Ends in the chat. Well, that put an end to that. I gotta say, terrible pun, but hilarious nonetheless.
If I wasn't wearing a cap right now, I would hit my head on the desk. It would be painful, but not as painful as with the stiff front of a cap going into my scalp. In any case, we'll find our way back to P9. Domenico Sayu behind here, Carlos Facagna, and the Brazilian did not manage to get a finish in race 1. So this is a great opportunity for him, actually. Started all the way from the back of the grid, seemed to avoid most of the drama, and though he's missing his front end, he is still in P8.
Yeah, fair play to him. He's also the hardest charger of this race, up 10 positions. Domenico Sayu up 3 positions as well. But I'm loving the fact that despite the fact these cars both having seriously cosmetically challenged front ends, they're still having a good race as a result.
Yes, aerodynamic flexibility and low drag, not really a problem here at Chicago. The average speed is so low, but you do still have to make sure that your car is as clean as possible. At least the suspension has to be top-notch to deal with these bumps. So they find their way to the end of the lap here, and Rich Meesters is also with no front end on his car, ending up making up some good time though. It seems he's the fastest car of this pack. Kemal Kasim has avoided getting too much damage thus far in this race, but he's not quite as quick as he'd like to be. Meesters right on the back of him in turn 2.
Yeah, you can see a definite advantage there by the driver to 64. The cool Camel is indeed riding that Camel and trying to find its way forward, ladies and gentlemen. He started on pole, had a little bit of an incident earlier on, able to save the car from hitting the wall, but don't get me wrong, that huge, colossal incident we saw earlier on in the race, I gotta say, that's Oscar winning carnage, ladies and gentlemen. And despite that, he is still having a good lap. 136.42 last time round. He is definitely the quickest here. But is he going to be able to do something with it? Track position is one thing, pace is another.
Yeah, and I think track position is a bit more important here at Chicago. Speaking of, running wide, Domenico Sayu, and Kemal Kasim says, thank you very much, mate. I will move on through to P9. Rich Meesters running straight on at the turn there. I think he might have been caught out by Sayu braking a bit early. And it didn't look like he even really made any effort to turn into the corner there. Not that would have helped him all of that much. Unfortunately, Rich Meesters will find himself in no man's land in P11 now.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate, but fair play to some of these drivers. They have brought it back out on track. Cairo Enns has indeed returned, and despite the fact he's had, a less than ideal day today. He's actually up 2 positions in this race, ladies and gentlemen, so credit where due. Still Philip Masson. One meatball left in the field, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and check back in here with the lead. Tyler Harker, he's managed to pull away about 0.6 of a second gap. Kevin Adrian not quite able to match the pace, but I say that last lap he was indeed setting the record here for this race with 1:34.71.
Yeah, some really good pace from Adrian, hitting back at Tyler Harker there and letting him know that this race is far from over. It's quite interesting. I don't think we've been in the position yet where we've had 2 club class cars running 1 and 2 in a race. Obviously, some special circumstances with some of our heavy hitters not being here today, but still worth talking about.
You say both club class? Kevin Adrian is indeed the Premier class race. My apologies, but
is he?
Yeah, he's Premier.
I could say for sure he was club. I thought he was. He was last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was last season. So you're right there. He was indeed club class. He moved up, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Adrian got promoted, and right now the only promotion he's looking for is indeed to try and find a way past the 171 of Tyler Harker. Indeed, on iRating, these guys are matched by about 200 points between them. A smidge less later, we'll say 183. There's a very, very rough, zippy map there that you guys can't see, so we'll just assume that my math is indeed correct. But right now, I got to say, Kevin Adrian up 3 positions. Further back in the field, though, James Conrad starting to close in here on Adrian Hobb, playing that last lap, not quite able to match him on pace.
Not quite. I'll rephrase then what I said earlier. Have there been any occasions in the past where we have had a club class driver and a former club class driver running 1 and 2 in a race? It's probably happened at some point, but I can't do it off the top of my head at the moment. Not much is happening off the top of my head right now. It is very late at night, and I've had quite a big day, but that's no excuse. We will keep on going here as James Conrad continues to try and stay in touch with Adrian Hopp. But yeah, 0.5 of a second faster on the last lap was Mr. Hopp there. So I'm pretty sure he'll be reasonably safe for the time being. Having said that, Conrad has made up quite a bit of time on this lap, hasn't he?
He really has. Certainly, Adrian Hopp has definitely got some damage there on the front of that car. But I do see Kern Kurt in the chat there saying that Kevin Adrian should get a penalty for that hack move. Why are you passing there? Learn how to race. Well, indeed, that is one person's opinion. Myself, you can make a pass at any corner as long as it's a legitimate move. I understand. I get the frustration, but you know, sticks and stones. We can review it here on stream for But Reese, what would be your opinion here on that move earlier on?
All right, well, let's be fair to Kevin here. He was fully alongside Mason Kuhn at the point of contact. If he made contact with the rear of Mason Kuhn or the rear quarter, then absolutely it would have been a slam dunk bad move. But have a look at this. He got alongside and into the corner. Yeah, maybe he could have been a little bit more to the right, but I don't know. On a first lap or a second lap in this case, you do need to be wary. And Mason Kuhn was certainly taking a bit easier to turn 5 that time. I mean, it'll all be up to the stewards in the end, won't it? We can say whatever we like. We can look at every angle we can, but I mean, from that point, I don't think Kevin Adrian was expecting Mason Kuhn to come back on him like that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're just commentators. You guys are just the viewers. It's the stewards who have to make the hard decisions on that.
Yeah, honestly, I watched that, and if you watch it from both cars' point of view, I'd say that Kevin had nowhere else he could go, and if anything, Mason kind of, turned in on him. But that's, again, it's just a point of view. I'm not the race control department either, but certainly I understand the frustration. And this is honestly why I have my voice chat muted when I do race, because I definitely would not have been on my best behavior. But certainly, you know what, I get it. But meantime, let's check in here with the battle for P8 as Kemal Kasim has caught up to the back of Carlos Vacania.
Indeed, he has. Battle for 8th resuming here. And Kemal Kasim is a bit of a rarity in this field, having a car that looks completely clean and still has the front clamshell attached. We're going to be ready to see what happens here. Nice run out of the final corner for Carlos Vacania. I'm actually amazed that he's able to hold on to the pace he has with the damage that he's evidently carrying. Kasim was I'd say almost a tenth faster on the previous lap. He does seem to be a bit more eager to get to the apex of turn 1 than Fakanya is, but the wide entry is so important around this track.
Yeah, certainly I think this is a good place where you can do a bit of over-under, as that is a car ahead, I believe. I think that's Jeffrey Atkins just ahead. Yeah, they're starting to catch up to Atkins there. As I say that, Fakanya is now going side by side here with Kemal Kasim. Kasim's got it done.
He has. Nice move up the inside of turn 4 there. And he will surely march forward a little more. Similar circumstance to the incident move that we replayed just a few moments ago, except this time Kasim was well and truly ahead by the time they got to the apex. And I think Fakanya realized that the move was on and decided not to fight it too hard. His best hope from here on out is to try and hold on to the back of Kasim and see if they can gain that extra position over Adkins. They are both running pretty similar pace to Adkins at the moment, so there could still be some moves to be made. Final lap has begun, by the way, and it's been a while since we checked in with the lead. Tyler Harker has extended his lead over Kevin Adrian to 2.8 seconds.
Yeah, that last lap, Kevin Adrian 1.4 seconds slower. I have to wonder as to why. Certainly not popular in the chat, at least not with Kurt Kuhn, Kurt Kuhn, my apologies there. But you know what, again, I reviewed it. I'm sorry. I will disagree with you on that. He's saying it's a low probability move. That indeed may be right, but low probability doesn't mean you can't go for it. And from this point of view, I've reviewed on both. I'm sorry, Kurt, but I have a feeling that would be a racing incident at best. But I definitely understand your frustration. By all means, everybody is entitled to an opinion. We're not going to frown upon that by any means. But right now, let's check back in here with James Conrad, as he has indeed applied more pressure here to the back of Adrian Hopp.
All right, James Conrad carrying some good pace in the last few laps. Adrian Hopp seems to be running slightly slower at most points, but I think consistency has been key for the German here. He's been driving with this metronomic consistency to stay in fourth, and I think it might just be too little too late for James Conrad to make the maneuver. Over the bridge and towards the final corner, meanwhile, comes Tyler Harker, and well, what a turnaround from qualifying. Didn't even set a lap in qualifying. Sat at the back of the grid for race 1, and thanks to the big incidents at the start of this race, he's managed to take the win.
Yeah, definitely a good solid drive by him. Kevin Adrian as well. Not too popular in the crowd, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly I think he had a solid drive. He's up 3 positions and takes second place. Bas van der Lee able to get a good haul of points as well. Let's go check back in here, as indeed Jeffrey Atkins is now under threat here from Kemal Kasim. I did notice Kasim was getting a little bit quicker and indeed applying even more pressure. He caught up about a second on the last lap, but is it going to be too little too late, as he's right there in the draft and chasing, ladies and gentlemen, and not quite able to get it done. Just needed one more lap.
Yeah, a couple of tenths in the end between Kemal Kasim and Jeffrey Adkins. Rich Meesters and Domenico Sayu battling. It was the battle of the half cars at this point between these two. They were really knocked about during this race. Last finisher on the lead lap is going to be Valdas van Savicius, and it would appear that Cairo Enns and Stephen Saunders, as well as Zoltan Zomator, all involved in the incident triggered by the move Kevin Adrian made on Mason Kuhn, will come away a lap down or more. Plenty of time spent in the pits for all of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a race, not necessarily just of attrition, but certainly a race of incidents today, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, some drivers are able to, pretty much ride a magic carpet and dodge over the majority of them. Others end up getting caught up in it. Really, at Chicago, it's not a lot you can do. It does remind me actually a little bit of Toronto Indy here, where we've seen, we've seen it, the track can get blocked. And certainly, Reese, you'll relate mostly to this one. Bathurst, of all places. You get an incident there going up the hill. Well, that's it. There's nowhere you can go. But before we get into that little tangent here, Reese, let's have a look here at the results.
Yep, so Tyler Harker comes away with the win. A club class car taking the overall win. That's a rare occurrence in this championship. Kevin Adrian and Bas van der Lee round out your podium. Adrian Hopp finishes fourth ahead of James Conrad, with Rupesh Pineni in 6th. Adkins and Kasim separated by a mere couple of tenths at the end. If only there was one more lap, Kemal's probably thinking. Carlos Fakanya and Rich Meesters round out your top 10.
As we have a look there at P11, we've got Domenico Sayu with Valdez Fantamisius in 12th. Zoltan Zummertor takes 13th with Cairo Enns in 14th. Steve Saunders, the gentleman of the group, he's there in 15th with Mason Kuhn in 16th. Philip Masson took 17th with Barrett Blummet, rounding out your 18-car grid.
Well, it's time then for the warm-up, and my goodness, what a night we have had so far. Well, it is night for me, but middle of the day for you, Zippy, and for just about everyone else competing in this series. Chicago, I think, was always going to be a race defined more by incidents than by out-and-out racing, but yeah, all up, the night has been quite the entertaining one.
Yeah, definitely entertaining for sure. We've seen some absolutely incredible incidents here today, and indeed, it's definitely been a little bit of controversy. But before we get too much into a little bit more racing, we've got one more lap, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a 20-minute sprint to the end. Let's take another little break here from Swellio.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Swellio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Swellio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy, wait a race.
Well, an incredible event thus far at the Chicago Street Circuit, round 8 of season 6 of the Almeida Racing League. It's one of our longest running and most consistent shows here on Pit Road Productions. Whether you've come from PRP or from Swellio Almeida's channel, where this is being multi-streamed, we thank you for coming along for the show today. And we certainly hope that race 3 is going to meet everyone's expectations. We have 5 more minutes on the clock to deal with, and it should be a little bit more of an opportunity for drivers to make moves. I'm looking forward to it. If you're just joining us, I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box, and also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, we've got just a minute or so, a little bit less left in warm-up. What are you expecting from race 3?
I'm not really sure how to spin this one recently. I think it could go either way. I gotta wonder, are the drivers going to settle down a little bit, having seen the incidents from race 1 and 2, and just kind of chill it a little bit, maybe a little less aggression, maybe a little bit more reserved? Or are we going to see what I'm predicting is going to happen? Even more aggression, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling it's going to be a dogfight to the very end, and certainly Chicago, not one of the forgiving circuits. Certainly, I got a buddy of mine in Chicago. He's a pretty tough dude, and I have a feeling the track is pretty much echoing that kind of sentiment.
Yeah, it's rapidly proved itself as an iconic venue in the real world, though, hasn't it? Every time the NASCAR Cup Series comes here, it's certainly an entertaining one, and it's also where, this is sort of a crossover between the American racing scene and the Australian racing scene. Shane Van Gisbergen really put himself on the NASCAR radar with his performance at the Chicago Street Circuit a couple of years ago. Now he has a full-time drive in the Cup Series. So this is the place where legends are made. Let's see if any more are made here in race 3. It is time for the grid, and starting on pole position for this one is going to be Tyler Harker by virtue of winning race 2. Kevin Adrian is on the front row with him. Bas van der Lee and Adrian Hopp are your second row, with James Conrad and Rupesh Pineni your top 6. Jeffrey Adkins and Kemil Kassim, they're going to continue their battle from race 2. They're out of 7th and 8th. Carlos Vacania has a good opportunity for points here, starting 9th alongside Rich Meesters.
Domenico Sayu is going to take 11th with Valdes Pansavicius there in 12th. Looking back at 13th, Zoltan Zomator will be there alongside Cairo Enns in 14th. Steve Saunders, the gentleman of the group, ladies and gentlemen, alongside Mason Kuhn with 15th and 16th. Philip Masson there in 17th with Barrett Blumett surprisingly far back in 18th. I would be keeping an eye on the 34 car. I have a feeling he's going to be looking to try and find his way forward.
Yeah, Mason Kuhn will be trying to do the same thing as well. He's been staring down the barrel of top 5 finishes today, but has been unable to completely get it done thus far. Let's hope that the number 79 has a clean race here and is able to make his way up through the field. It would be nice to see Mason continue doing well here. But Tyler Harker has really shown himself to be on the pace at Chicago today. Was 4th in practice. Didn't take part in qualifying. Remember that. He started at the back for race 1 and somehow managed to find his way to victory in race 2. He will have it all to play for in front of him.
Yeah, certainly. I got a feeling we're going to see some spicy battles here. And you know what? I think my strategy for this would be, honestly, work together with the person alongside you and just try and get a gap over the rest of the field. It's much easier to manage 1 or 2 cars here than it is to manage 18. Certainly keeping that in mind, I think, will be the recipe for success.
That turn they just went through there is one of the key points of the lap here, and that's where Kevin Adrian made that arguably aggressive move on Mason Kuhn in race 2. He is hoping that we don't see anything like that here in race 3. We want to see good racing. We want to see side by side, but we don't want to see crashes erupt from it. So he is hoping they keep it very clean. Everyone is weaving quite aggressively here to get heat into their tires. The track is still quite cool at the moment. It's gone up in temperature a little bit, it being slightly later in the day. It's up to 21 degrees Celsius, but that's still not toasty by any stretch.
Yeah, definitely not. It looks like the sim date is actually for Halloween this year, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly a few people getting caught by a couple of ghosts and a couple of devils here at Chicago. But certainly it's been an absolute belter of a day so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what this final race can unfold.
Plenty to think about. 5 extra minutes on the clock, 20 minutes of time with which to race. It's going to be a few extra laps you have to plan your maneuvers. Will we see the aggression stay the same, or will we see drivers try to cut it back? I think there's going to be more than a few at the back of the field who will want to make their case for a top 10 or better, so maybe look for some aggressive moves further back. The pace car will pull into the pits very shortly here through the final corner. It's a very close pit entry on this circuit. It's right after the exit of the final corner. Green flag in the air though, and here comes Tyler Harker, who absolutely nails the start. Looks like Kevin Adrian will fall in line there behind him. Adrian Hopp gets passed by Rupesh Pineni on the way into the first corner. Rupesh is up into 3rd already.
Yeah, and I have a feeling we're seeing 3 wide further back, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, we are in places just for a brief moment at that. As Valdes Pansavicius is there, almost incredibly close to the wall there. There's a car on the outside, sir. That's indeed Cairo Enns himself getting into some battles as well. Meanwhile, further up, Adrian Hopp and Bas van der Lee are both victim here to Rupesh Pineni, who's managed to find his way up 3 positions already. Cairo Enns up 4. Certainly, Jken's calling him out in the chat as being the hard charge. But I have to wonder as well, can Harker, can Adrian find a way to pull away from Rupesh Pineni and indeed the rest of this pack?
Yeah, Pineni and Hopp are definitely a bit faster than Kevin Adrian, only by a couple of tenths, so they are going to have to work for it. Meanwhile, the fighting further back, Mason Kuhn has found his way up to 12th, and Kevin Adrian's going to go for the lead on Tyler Harker here. Pass made, and there's going to be no response from the 171. Track is too narrow for the over-under at that point. He's going to hold on, though. Rupesh Pineni dialing up the aggression.
Yeah, certainly. I think if Adrian can get these two guys to fight behind him, it's going to be... Oh, there! That was Pinelli!
Oh!
How
Now,
did
does he
get
slow
away
it
with
down?
that?
Good question. James Conrad hasn't had the same luck, though. And it looks like he's going to be joined by Domenico Sayu as well.
Briefly.
That's not ideal. Yeah, ever so briefly. Conrad having to do a three-point turn to get back going there. And, well, Sayu will try his best to hold on to his pace there. Pinenni's in trouble, though. Adrian Hopp trying up the inside of him at turn 1. Pinenni leaves just enough room at the apex for Hopp to try and squeeze up the inside. It doesn't work, though. Here comes Bas van der Lee and Kemel Kassim. This is going to turn into quite the fight for P3.
Absolutely. As you can see, Mason Kuhn is absolutely driving the wheels off that car. He's currently the hard charger in the field, ladies and gentlemen, up 7 positions, as is Cairo Enns as well. Actually, both of them with 7 positions. Enns being a little bit further up, though. You can see him there in the forefront of the shot. He's got Jeffrey Atkins right behind him as well, applying pressure. Low risk, high reward, gentlemen. That is going to be the name of the game. As you can see, these drivers getting close to the wall, but not quite Max Verstappen or indeed Charles Leclerc close. If you can start brushing the bodywork against that wall, you're going to see a little smidge more pace.
Yes, just a smidge more, though. There's only so much you can take out of a track like this where there's barely any runoff to speak of. Meanwhile, Kevin Adrian checking in with us on Zoom. He is driving hard across these bumps, up a gear through this corner, but you have to lift out of the throttle slightly to get the weight back onto the front so you get good rotation through those second couple of right-handers. A challenging back section of this racetrack. They come back over the bridge, over the railway, I believe, and into the final corner. That is the end of the second lap. And Cairo Enns is starting to pile on the pressure here on Kemel Kassim. That's a nice exit out of the final turn. What can Cairo do into turn 1? Kassim staying middle of the road, forcing him to pick a side. Enns picks the correct one, the inside line for turn 1, and it looks like Kassim isn't going to fight that one.
Yeah, risk versus reward, that's a little bit of contact there, and despite that, Kassim looking to try and find his way ahead here. Cairo Enns just applying pressure to the gas pedal. Another little hit. Ladies and gentlemen, I think they heard me. These drivers are absolutely milking the living snot out of these Spec Racer Fords.
In the background there, Jeffrey Adkins falling back. It looks like he ran deep at turn 2. Cairo Enns keeps Kemel Kassim behind him, and oh dear, it looks like Adkins is slow. There's some pretty heavy damage on that car. And it would appear that, Kevin Adrian's had an issue as well. He's falling back. There's been some problems for the number 10, and it looks like it happened out of turn 5. There was contact between himself and Tyler Harker. Well, I think it's going to be a bit of a mirror image. Oh dear, that's the aftermath of that incident. It's going to be a bit of a mirror image of what happened in race 2, actually. This time, Kevin Adrian was on the receiving end of a dive at turn 4.
I guess you could call that karma, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I've got to say, fair play to all the drivers involved. That could have been a lot worse. And honestly, I'm impressed they avoid exactly all of those drivers. Incredible thing. But now it's going to get extra interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who's back together? It's going to be Kevin Adrian and indeed Mason Kuhn. Kemel Kassim could end up with collateral damage here and pretty much boxed in at this point. There is nowhere he can go. Mason Kuhn on the inside, Kassim, and squeeze, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to leave room for the car. There is definitely a little bit of a grudge match going on here for P7.
Oh, the line is open to the inside for Adrian. It looks like Mason Kuhn's going to try as well. Oh, there we go. Mason Kuhn stuck in the middle there, and Kemel Kassim sent almost into the tyre barriers. And it looks like Kevin Adrian's going to be the lead in that battle for now. But now that Mason Kuhn is clear of Carlos Facagna, he'll be charging back up to the rear of Adrian.
Oh, this is gonna get ugly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't mean like zippy ugly, I mean as in carnage. You know, there's gonna be fist fights in the pits if this carries on. Like, there is definitely some grudge matching going on. And indeed, if I have a look a little bit further back here, Dominic Sayu now going side to side with Zoltan Zomotor. You can almost hear the cars grazing against the wall here. Rich Meesters applying a good amount of pressure. He's got Valdas Fansavicius ahead of him. Philip Masson, Kemel Kassim, Steve Saunders, all of these cars in a pack from the most point. Jeffrey Atkins, meatball flag in pit lane. James Conrad about 10-11 seconds back, which could actually work out for him in his favor. If these drivers come together, it could indeed help him out. Steve Saunders now making a pass on the inside of Carlos Facagna.
Oh, good room being given from both drivers there. They're going to keep trying to go side by side through the back section. I wouldn't try that, but somehow they've managed to make it work.
Yeah, definitely a good amount of pressure being applied. I do love that corner, a little bit of the little bit of rotation, a little bit of the upset, and indeed you can see the springs indeed working. It's Steve Saunders now. He's got pressure behind in the form of Barrett Blummet. I did say, ladies and gentlemen, he's a driver. Keep your eye on, and he is indeed up 8 positions. The second hardest charger in the field. Cairo ends taking that right by 10 positions gained. He's currently up to P4 overall. But I gotta say, this race is getting spicy. But will there be a little bit too much heat in the kitchen?
Yeah, it's starting to get a bit warm in here, honestly, and I've had to have a couple of sips of my water because this is going to turn into quite the race here. This pack, Carlos Vicagna all the way down to Domenico Saiu, that is positions 8 through to 16, all in a train here, and the fastest of them at the moment appears to be well, Philippe Masson actually has one of the faster laps here. Rich Meesters does as well. So let's see what Philippe Masson can do here. He's managed to nail the exit out of turn 5. He'll be in the slipstream of Kemal Kassim. Some good positions gained for the Frenchman. He's up 5 places thus far. Let's see how many more he can make up. At the moment, the previous lap, the fastest was, well, there's a whole bunch of 1 minute 37s here. It would appear that Stephen Saunders is actually one of the faster of that pack. But we move back to Kevin Adrian and Mason Kuhn, who are starting to come back together again. Right now, Adrian able to set 1 minute 35s. Mason Kuhn has yet to break into the 135s at the moment, but regardless, he is still the second hardest charger in this field behind Cairo Enns.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be a battle of the ages, ladies and gentlemen. You see Kevin Adrian there. Looks like a little bit of a slide going on, and indeed Mason Kuhn has seen that, and he's going to capitalize on it. He's going to go side by side here, making their way, and already contact going down the straight. I have a feeling, indeed, the boxing gloves may be required here. Kevin Adrian tucks back in behind, but are we going to see a counter here from the number 10?
It's all about the exit of turn 2. Kevin Adrian's been struggling with oversteer in the last couple of corners. He manages to nail the run out of turn 2. A slight slide there for Mason Kuhn. Meanwhile, in the pack back for 16th, it looks like Stephen Saunders has had a problem, but we'll get to that in a short amount of time. Slipstream is so strong here. Kevin Adrian does not go for the move at turn 4. I think he knows what Mason Kuhn's response to that would be.
Yeah, it's definitely getting a little bit ugly here. It's Cairo Enns now getting into it with Mr. Adrian Hopp. He makes his way up 11 positions, ladies and gentlemen. All he has to do is keep it clean right now. Tyler Harker, you can see him there in the forefront of your shot. He's got Rupesh Pineni absolutely breathing down his neck. Ladies and gentlemen, he could feel the steam coming out of the jaws there of the number 19. But right now, all Enns has to do is finish cleanly. He's currently leading the Club Class Championship. He's got a good show in the Premier Class Championship. He's just got to finish this race and keep it clean. And indeed, if these two come together, which I'm definitely not going to rule out, it could be a race win here for the 117.
Yeah, that's what he's going to be hoping for. Enns currently the fastest lap holder, 134.6, but Pineni has gotten close to that. We'll see what he can do on this lap. Across the line, 135.0 for Harker, 134.8 for Rupesh Pineni, and 135.2 for Cairo Enns. So it looks like our top two are safe for the time being, the gap remaining at about 1.8, 1.9 seconds, and Enns still has to get free of Hopp. Meanwhile, Kevin Adrian running a bit deep in turn 1, losing touch with Mason Kuhn now.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's got a little bit of extra heat in them tyres. It does seem like the car is struggling for grip, but let's have a look a little bit further back here. Rich Meesters now applying pressure to the back of Zoltan Zomator.
Yeah, some good racing going on between these guys. Remember, they're all in... Whoa, that's a bit of oversteer there. These guys were all involved in that huge pack from 8th to 16th, but there was an incident that happened. I only saw it on the timing screen, but it's broken up these battles, and it looks like Stephen Saunders was the one to come off the worst out of it. So we'll see at some point what happened, but for now, Rich Meesters continuing this fight. We'll actually go to it now. Looked like it might have happened in turn 1. Saunders, looks like that's Kassim going for the move up the inside of him, taps him around, and oh, Meesters got involved in that. Mansavicius having to back out of it too on the right-hand side of the circuit. And, well, fortunately, Saunders is still rolling. The only car we've lost so far is Jeffrey Adkins.
Certainly it has indeed been a challenge, and that would explain the damage here on the front of the Cool Camel Racing number 64. Indeed, Zonto, so you got an advantage when it comes to the car right now, based purely on conditions. That's a little bit deep there from Meisters. I have a feeling the damage is indeed affecting the tire wear, or indeed the tire temperature on these cars. As you can see, a couple of drivers starting to get a little bit here, a little bit tense there, as that looked a little bit deep again. But let's check in further through the lead, as Rupesh Pineni has taken that position, and indeed Cairo Wins and Adrian Hopp are very much in pursuit.
He took it in style too, round the outside of turn 1 for Rupesh Pineni, but Harker is fighting back here at turn 4. They're going to be side by side through there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get through that complex cleanly side by side. It has, however, brought Enns and Hopp right into the fight.
Yeah, this could end very interestingly. I'm going to try and find up that replay for you in just a second here, Reese. But meanwhile, you can see there, it's now a 4-way fight for the lead.
Incredible stuff. And this is Cairo Enns' big chance to take the win. This is how Pineni did it. They were banging wheels, banging side panels all the way down the front straight. But look at that beautiful speed from Rupesh Pineni. He positioned his car perfectly. He was slightly compromised on the way out of turn 2, a tighter way in, but still, that is a stylish way to take the lead of a race.
Yeah, that was literally straight out of the Academy handbook. You keep your opponent squeezed to the inside and then pull out to the preferred line right at the end. That is exactly what he did, ladies and gentlemen. They teach that here at the Academy, and fair play. You can see it's literally just paid off. Rupesh Pineni now leading the race. Cairo Enns currently up 11 positions. He's there in P3. Next harder charger is indeed Mason Kuhn, who's starting to run away a little bit here from Kevin Adrian. That gap down to about a second now. But I've got to wonder what's going to happen with this lead fight. We've got 4 Spec Racer Fords all bowing for that top position.
And with only 7 minutes to go, 5 laps according to my timing, it seems that no one is keen to avoid the wall on the exit of turn 2. They're pushing as hard as they dare around here over these public road bumps. Coming down the straight then, they will find their way into turn 4, and it looks like both of our top 2 have a clean run out of that 5th corner. But the slipstream will kick in once again. Keep an eye on the drivers in the background as well. Bas van der Lee, Mason Kuhn, Kevin Adrian, they are all standing to take advantage if there's a coming together between our leaders, which may happen sooner rather than later. Whoa. Pineni defending the lead from Tyler Harker, and Cairo Enns is right there to take advantage on the outside into this corner, though. I certainly wouldn't want to be where Cairo is right now, but somehow, some way, he's managed to make it work.
Oh dear, if that got any tighter, like it, you wouldn't have fit a cigarette paper through that gap, ladies and gentlemen. That was incredibly tight, and a fair play to him. Enns is definitely running a high shot.
No, he's running.
Oh, run a bit deep indeed. And now Adrian Hobbs going to get in on the mix here. And it looks like Tyler Harker pretty much boxed in as, yep, Hobbs says thank you very much. Has to back up to avoid Enns. And Hopp just goes thank you very much and just absolutely steals that position there. I do have to wonder if this is a new technique of racing here. But meanwhile, Bas van der Lee is closing in that last lap. He was about a second faster.
Yeah, that's fantastic pace from Van der Lee. Even better pace from Mason Kuhn. 134.8 from the number 79. This could get very tight. Still 4 laps remaining. Oh dear. Looks like Kevin Adrian may have come a cropper out of turn 1. Let's see how it happened on board.
Well, definitely, I have a feeling, yep, those tyres got a little bit too warm. Bit of a tank slapper, and yeah. Unfortunate. However, he will find himself still there in P7. Certainly been a controversial race for him today. And right now, Carlos Vicania is going to be getting a good taste of that, as is he Barrett Wummett. Ladies and gentlemen, another one of the hard-charging crew. He's up 9 positions, and I have a feeling he's going to be trying to make it 11 very shortly.
Yeah, Barrett, of course, with top 5 pace here today. Kevin Adrian, I think, is too damaged to really fight here. He's just going to fall back in line behind these guys and just circulate to the end from here. Meanwhile, side by side between Zoltan Zomotor and Rich Meisters. Meisters still carrying that damage from the incident some laps ago, and the move is done for Zoltan, but Meisters is certainly not going to let it go without at least giving him a little bit of pressure. Back to our lead then. Rupesh Pineni and Cairo Enns almost back together here. Adrian Hopp and Tyler Harker fighting tooth and nail for the last spot on the podium.
Yeah, this race is getting even better. Ladies and gentlemen, Chicago circuit, not on the Princess approved track list, but on the broadcast approved track list. Ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Harker manages to make his way and stay there in third position. But right now, Enns, he can taste victory ahead of him. Just how hard is he going to push? My advice, sir, stay back behind Pineni. Keep there, keep in the job, and try and pull yourself away from the third and fourth place cars of Harker and the Hop.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what Cairo's doing as Brummett round the outside of Carlos Facania takes 7th place and does make it up 11 places in this one. Solid run it has been from Barrett Brummett, and I don't think Facania is going to pressure him too much from here. Rich Meesters is still involved with Zoltan Zomotor, still trying to get this move done. It seems that no matter where you are in this field, you have someone to race with.
Yeah, but that's a little bit loose there. Zomotor slaps the wall, and this could be the opportunity for the number 64. You can see he's there. He's damaged, but he's still very much in contention there. Is it going to be enough to find his way up to P14 overall?
Oh, outside line. He's going to get to where the rubber is for the move into the corner and sweeps round the outside of Zomotor. What a move!
That was a belter.
Lovely stuff. I was expecting an exciting sequence of races here at Chicago, but this has exceeded my expectations. An incredibly good race that we've had here. And we still have 2 more laps to go with our top 4 locked together. Mason Kuhn, meanwhile, has gotten a mechanical black flag. He's hit the wall somewhere.
Oh, that is definitely unfortunate. I'm going to see if I can try and find out what happened to him, but indeed...
Look at the right side. Oof. The right side wheel is almost inside the car at this point.
Oh yeah, that's definitely an aggressive hit there. It's a snout-nosed spec racer Ford, I guess, on this occasion, Reese.
Well, shortly, I guess we'll find out what happened to him, but I think we should keep an eye on the battle for the lead because it's starting to get leery. Rupesh Pineni still in front, but Enns, Harker, and Hop are now fighting tooth and nail once again. Harker managing to get past Hop, I think, into turn 4. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to see exactly what happened to Mason Kuhn there. We are unable to get the specific incident that gave him that damage, but regardless, it's a pretty harsh blow for an incredible charge for Mason Kuhn up the inside at turn 4 there. That's going to be Valdas Vansevicius giving way to Zoltan Zomotor there. It looks like Zomotor actually is down on pace at the moment. He's been left behind by Rich Meesters. Vansevicius, this is a replay of a bit earlier. Something's going on here at this end of the field. Okay, he ran deep at the second last corner, and that, I think, is what got him behind Zomotor in the end.
Yeah, indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, these guys are still fighting as well. Steve Saunders, we got a 4-way fight for P14, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Saunders and James Conrad getting into the mix.
Yeah, these are the last running cars on the circuit, and they're fighting like it's for the win. Speaking of the win, it is still on. One lap. Oh, God. Steve Saunders going airborne there. And okay, is that? No, we can't. I think we're gonna have to get the lawyers involved on that one, Zippy.
Oh, doink. That was incredible.
All is forgiven, apparently.
Oh dear. Word.
Vansevicius and Saunders, 2 very embattled drivers here today, and it's unfortunate that their race had to end like that. But we still have a battle to work out here at the front of this field. Rupesh Pineni still fending off Cairo Enns. Adrian Hop wants to keep Tyler Harker behind him for the last spot on the podium. Now they're going to be in the very narrow section of the circuit, the final sector. This is your last chance to make a clear move. None of our top 4 goes for it, but it's all about consistency. Through a couple of these corners a few laps ago, Rupesh Pineni hit the wall. He might do the same again. Enns is carrying so much pace through that left-hand sweeper. Is this going to be enough for a dive up the inside? No, Pineni positions his car quite well and keeps him behind. Might that open up the opportunity for Hop and Harker? One more corner to go here at Chicago on the brakes, and Pineni's wide. Oh, Enns is going to have to back out of it there and almost gives up the position to Hop. Harker's going to go for it 3 wide across the line. Pineni wins somehow. Only 0.03 of a second between Hop and Harker in the end.
That was tense. That was 2 tenths, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check in here. Cool it down a little bit with James Conrad now, who's currently applying a good amount of pressure to the back of Zoltan Zomator, but certainly not as much as indeed Bowders Fansavicius and Steve Saunders encountered a few minutes ago.
Dear, oh dear.
Good run, good
carrying
run.
the brakes a bit. Yeah, here we go. This could be what Conrad needs. Is he going to get across the line ahead? He will. Manages to get to 14th.
That was incredible, Reese. We might have to have a bathroom break after these races, because it's just too much, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are absolutely doing us in here today, in which case we commend you for it. But Mason Kuhn still finishing the race with that mechanical black flag. I have a feeling that's going to be quite detrimental for him. I don't know how far it's going to push him down the standings, but indeed, currently P6. We'll have to see when the results come through, as that's exactly what's just happened. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. Here we go.
All right. Well, in the end, it looks like Kuhn's going to hold on to 6th place from that. Mechanical black flags not working the same as normal black flags at the end of a race. But Rupesh Paneni takes the win 3 tenths ahead of Cairo N's. Hop and Harker battling super hard there. In the top 4. Bas van der Leek will finish P5 ahead of Mason Kuhn, with Barrett Brummett taking P7. A great run up through the field from Barrett, 11 places gained. Carlos Facania manages to stay in the top 10. A very nice drive from him, and Philippe Masson getting into 9th. 8 positions gained for the Frenchman, with Kemal Kassim rounding out the top 10.
Taking a look there at P11 was the one and only Mr. Rich Meesters, with Kevin Agin right along behind in 12th. Domenico Sayu took 13th, with James Conrad in 14th, making that last position over Zoltan Zomator right at the finish line in 15th. Bowders Fansavicius took 16th, with Steve Saunders in 17th. Maybe those guys are a little bit too close for Valentine's Day, with Jeffrey Atkins rounding out your 18-car grid. But ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed that part of the show where we have some interviews, and drivers of the ARA, you need to hurry up, because come on, we need to get you in here. I see no one waiting in the interview booth, and certainly Cairo Enzo, I imagine, would be somebody who would like to have a discussion with us. Rupesh Paneni yet to come into the booth. Certainly Rupesh, by all means, come on by as speakers the devil. Cairo making an appearance.
Here he is, and we're going to have a chat to him now. Cairo, very good night for you. Some fantastic pace that you were able to carry in qualifying, but unfortunately, races 1 and 2 didn't quite work out for you. You managed to make good on that pace, though, in race 3. That looked like a titanic battle between yourself, Rupesh, Adrian, and Tyler. How was it for you?
Oh, that was absolutely exhilarating. First couple races, just a couple of unfortunate incidents that just messed me up, and in particular the first race, I didn't expect that tiny bit of damage that I got to hurt as bad as it did, but I just had permanent understeer for the rest of the race. And yeah, come back into the feature race, and it felt a whole lot better. I actually, through the warm-up, I played around a little bit with the brake bias. I actually sent it back almost, an entire 1%. And yeah, that just seemed to hook the car up just perfectly for me, and I was able to get all the grip I needed. And from there, it was just keep it clean. I watched a few other people make some mistakes, and I just capitalized on it, and it worked out. The last few laps, though, it was looking really good for a P1. I was fighting really hard. I knew exactly where I needed to make the move. Unfortunately, Rupesh made a bit of a mistake and ended up being a bit of a blocker there, not intentionally, but yeah, it is what it is. And hey, I'm glad to have a P2. It was a very good race.
Yeah, as you should be. It should be good enough to preserve your club class championship lead. So at the very least, you're able to carry that into the remaining rounds.
Yeah, we do have a couple of drop rounds available. I was going into this one fully expecting it to be a guaranteed drop round. Coming in with such a good qualifying pace, even through practice, it was feeling really good. I was actually starting to think it might be a good few points haul for me. It is a little unfortunate that I got the low points that I did, but hey, with the drop rounds and with the performance in the future, I think I'm quite safe, actually.
Yeah, indeed. And one more question. Next week's track, I think you'll be breathing a sigh of relief, as will most of the field, because there won't be walls as close as they are here. Alton Park, the next round, but the racing surface still remains quite narrow. What are you expecting?
I'm expecting some very good racing around Alton Park. We've raced around there a few times. It's a very good track. It is very technical, but I think it suits this car very, very well. The draft is going to be very key, as well as keeping balance over those final couple of corners into the dip just before the finish line there. But yeah, I think the racing is going to be very good.
All right, we're expecting fantastic racing there, as you are too, Cairo. Congratulations on the podium and the win in class in the final race. And I'm sure we'll be chatting to you again next week. Until then, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cairo ends there, and would appear the only driver joining us for an interview here today, Zippy.
We got more coming.
Would appear... Oh, we do? All right, well done.
There we go.
Right on time. Kevin Adrian, go and grab him.
Well, indeed, Kevin, I gotta say, definitely a controversial race for yourself. Certainly, you're not too popular in the Kuhn household for that move at the beginning of race 2. We reviewed it, but tell us a little bit about it from your point of view.
Well, from my point of view, I was beside him. I felt that I was going to hit the apex, so to me, he turned into me and caused a bunch of damage behind. So, yeah, I don't know. He was blinking a bit right before that in the same lap, so some guys were saying in Discord that it was netcode, but on my end, he hit me, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't feel like it was my fault, but we'll let the stewards decide on that.
Well, definitely, it's a tough one to call, and certainly a divided audience on that. Definitely not going to be getting a Christmas card from the driver of the number 79 list. But despite that, you guys having some incredible battles. I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit of rivalry coming through, but certainly a mixed bag of results for yourself today. Definitely Chicago, a very unforgiving circuit. Are you looking forward to heading over to Alton Park next week?
Yeah, it's kind of the same because you can't go off track at all because it's just grass, so you're going to be spinning anyway, so you have to keep it on the tarmac, which is the same here. It's just a little more forgiving, but no, it was a good race today. 4th and 2nd, and then the last one didn't turn out as well as I had hoped, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Well, as always, Kevin, a pleasure to see you here, and indeed a phenomenal drive by yourself, albeit one of controversial moves. But certainly, ladies and gentlemen, he is a gentleman for the most part. I've never seen Kevin do anything too egregious. Certainly, I would be a little bit more of a character for that. But we'll wish him the best of luck for next week. Indeed, as the driver of the number 10, Kevin Adrian joins us in the interview booth.
Yep. Kevin Adrian there, enjoying a very interesting time of things at Chicago. We've also got Adrian Hopp here as well, and one of the more consistent results of the day here, Adrian. Some incredible pace in qualifying, top 3, and you managed to get 2 podiums out of that one, plus a 4th. You must be happy with your haul today.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also very done. Like, this was an intense race all the way. Think was all about avoiding stuff, avoiding crashes in front, and that's what got me, pretty high up today. Yeah, very happy.
Consistency was key at a track like this. It's a real outlier on the schedule, I would say. We don't run any other street circuits for this season, so I think we'd be remiss to say that your driving style was fantastic for this particular kind of circuit. You kept your head on a swivel and you made sure that you were making moves where it counted.
Yeah, thanks for that. I agree. Especially also when I had Cairo behind me in the feature race. I knew he was faster than me, pace-wise, in the race itself. So yeah, instead of battling him and letting the both guys in front get away, I think I just got behind and we catched up, and then it was all about not pushing too much and not wanting too much at the overtake. And yeah, that's, I think, the only reason I got 3rd today.
Well, regardless, a result is a result, and 2 third places out of that. It's a solid points haul for you today. Congratulations on that, Adrian, and hopefully we see the results come even better at Alton Park next week.
Looking forward, yeah. Thank you.
Adrian Hopp joining us there from the Race 3 podium, and Tyler Harker joins us now, Zippy, winner of Race 2, a 7th in Race 1 and a 4th in Race 3.
Well, definitely Tyler. Starting off the day a little bit differently there. didn't post a qualifying time. Now, I have to ask, was that intentional? Was it strategy? Was it more of a, little bit of a scheduling thing?
It was poor driving at the start, and then about 5 minutes left of the qualifying, I just said, whatever, I'm just going to sit and wait it out and start from the back.
Well, fair play. Definitely some monumental incidents, and indeed, I think yourself having a little bit of coaching with Connor Bell as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, he coached me around Canada and highlighted a few techniques that I was maybe not doing correctly or good enough, and then we practice it a little bit, and I try to implement those techniques for the rest of mankind.
Well, certainly, since your arrival here at the Almeida Racing Academy, you have indeed been a potent driver. The 171 having some good results so far. Indeed, today, able to get a race win, and indeed, in this last race, second in class as well. We're heading over to Alton Park next week, though. How do you feel about that particular venue? Certainly one of the free iRacing tracks, indeed one of the more popular ones, potentially, just by experience. But yourself, how do you feel about it?
I think it's a good place to drive. I've always been bad at the chicane that is no longer there. But yeah, there's some tough corners there. I am going to miss the Nordschleife, unfortunately, but I think this will make for some better racing because the Nürburgring is not easy to learn quickly, and so a lot of people would struggle there.
Yeah, definitely an interesting race indeed. As we see, we got more discussion there in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, Tyler, before we let you go, is there anybody else you'd like to shout out while you're here?
My mother. Hopefully, she's watching, but probably not. And then all the guys all the guys up at the top that I'm racing here with. They're all quick, and it's so hard to keep up with them. But it's been the best sim racing experience I've had so far out of about 2 or 3 years of doing it. So this league is pretty wonderful, and I think if anybody's watching that is looking for ways to improve, join this, because we're pretty active, and everybody here is good, and we're working together to get better.
But indeed, one of the perks, or indeed several of the perks of the Almeida Racing Academy, you've got the pit parties, you've got the workshops, you've got the course material as well, and indeed the biggest thing that you're seeing here today on Pit Road Productions, and it is Follow Almeida's channel, is you have the Racing League. 4 splits this season, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely insane racecraft. But certainly, let's put our hands together for the driver of the 171, a potent force to be reckoned with since he showed up on the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tyler Harker.
Brilliant stuff from Tyler Harker today. That race 2 win's going to stand as one of his best results in this series to date. And that is going to bring things to an end for today's proceedings, Zippy. I've certainly had fun with this one. I hope you have too.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. I had a feeling which way it was going to go, but not quite to the scale in which it did. And certainly, we've got some interesting discussions as well. Kurt Kuhn, definitely still not a Kevin Adrian fan. Certainly, I'm hoping to see that mellows down next week, or indeed, we're going to see even more rivalry between the 79 and indeed the number 10. Certainly, it's one of the things. It's one of the things I get it in the moment. It's passion, it's racing. And, sometimes you just got to take that independent review. And, from the discussions we've had, it's a bit of a mixed deal. But certainly, you know what? Chicago, it delivered on entertainment. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon. And joining me in the production booth today, the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner, affectionately known as the Southpaw Racer. You've been watching this here on Pit Road Productions and indeed on Swallow Almeida's channel. And before we go, ladies and gentlemen, you did indeed give me my Valentine's request. We hit 1,000 subscribers here on Pit Road. So, a huge thank you to everybody who has indeed subscribed. By all means, keep sharing the broadcast, keep hitting them like buttons, and help us continue to grow. Next target, 1.5k. But for now, that's all from us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in a week's time.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Swallow Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Australia Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy. Wait a race.